Welcome to the AskARoofer Podcast, where all your roofing questions find their answers. Your hosts, Megan Ellsworth and Lauren White, peel back the layers of the roofing world to reveal the knowledge, tips, and FAQs you've been curious about. From shingles to skylights, metal to asphalt, we're here to demystify the system above your head. So get ready to ask, learn, and explore the fascinating world of roofing, one question at a time, on the AskARoofer Podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Ellsworth.
And I'm Lauren White.
And you are listening to the AskARoofer Podcast. Today, we have our dear friend Kyle Nurminen with us again, and he has a new company to tell us about. So we're really excited to learn about his new company, Campany, as well as talk about COAs, HOAs, flat roofs, all sorts of stuff. So hi, Kyle. How are you?
Great, Megan. How are you? Good to see you ladies again.
You too.
Especially in a new outfit.
Yay! New company shirt. Yeah, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and your new company and everything you've been doing.
Well, I have a general management position with Campany Roof Maintenance in West Palm Beach, Florida. This company does over $100 million a year in re-roofing and have a firm maintenance program behind that. And that's kind of been, you ladies know that's been my area of expertise, portfolio management, proactive maintenance and stuff like that. I got away from that a little bit when I focused on coatings and then I focused on metal roofs and been kind of finding an avenue back, and I was going independent there and independent sales. I was going to try to get into it a little bit. And then the Lord led me to the Campany. They sought me out and timing was right. And they're looking for somebody to come in and take 20 years of experience in roof maintenance from seeing some of the best companies. I've worked for some of the best, in proactive maintenance, portfolio management, and kind of see what they're doing here. Been here not even 2 months yet. I'm just kind of feeling out that things are going. And after the first of the year, things start moving pretty quick. So we're really excited. We have a wonderful team here. They've been doing, just so you know, Campany does multi-residential, large commercial. They're one of the few companies in Southeast Florida still do their own lightweight concrete, coal tar pitch systems on a lot of these high rises on the ocean, where that's one of the best options. So they're really behind the radar. They're very well entrenched in architecture and the engineers and general contractor world. And so you don't really see them or hear from them very much, and wouldn't even know that they do as much as they do until you hop on board like I have. And it's been quite an eye opener, and it's been a real blessing.
So great. Well, congrats again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And so today we're talking about flat roof care. Typically commercial roofs, but, a lot of times with condos and, HOAs, condo associations. For those types of places, what makes a flat roof a popular choice, and especially for commercial properties, the HOAs and COAs?
Yeah. So especially in the Southeast Florida, is just architecture and aesthetics. It's just like the look of the building, the style of the building. That's part of it. But some of the bigger reasons are basically ground space is limited. So putting the units up on the roof is not only a way to save space on the ground, but it's also a way to secure your HVAC systems, chillers, and so on and so forth. So put them up on the roof where the copper can't be ripped out of them or anything like that. They're more secure. Yeah, space savers. And also, a lot of commercial roofing, these buildings need large spans. And so you're spending so much in the steel structure or the concrete substrate to span a certain width to support a roof. The rafters would have to be so high. And so that's a lot of material. So yeah, it's to save the space on staying flat is way these large span buildings typically go.
Interesting.
Like these Amazon warehouses and so on and so forth. Can you imagine if you put a pitch on one of those things, how much extra square footage that would be?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It looked pretty silly, wouldn't it?
That would look hilarious.
Yeah.
Would you say that I'm throwing a random question at you. Would you say people are leaning towards flat roofs for residential now for like patio space, like more space, especially if they live in a city?
I want to say unfortunately, yes. But
yeah, I know.
No, I mean, but It's opened up another sector of our industry for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing that Campany is in, there's not a lot of people in the waterproofing space. There's two different terms for liquid applied. You're talking about roof coatings, like the silicones and the acrylics and stuff that we've discussed in the past for roof restoration. But the waterproofing are like multi-ply epoxy systems, that are completely waterproof. And then you can put like your fake grass, you can put your pavers over top of a full waterproof system. There are still some out there that are trying to put them on top of roof systems. Problem is, they don't last as long. And then, by the time the roof system starts going, you have to take up all that extra material on top of it. Yeah. So there's multiple options, but it's getting more and more popular, especially Southeast Florida, overlooking the water. Everybody wants to be on the roof.
Yep.
Any downtown city where there's, good firework displays. Everybody wants to be on the roof, see the fireworks. So that's HOAs and condo associations. So as well, that's commercial. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I like random questions. That wasn't so random. That's a good one.
So what are some common challenges that flat roofs and people, living under flat roofs face in some of these condos and HOA commercial properties?
They're very susceptible, obviously, to foot traffic. You don't walk on slope roofs as much. Most of the debris sheds off of them. There's not so many penetrations to reinforce, but when you're putting a lot of stuff on the roof, there's a lot more vendors and services to be had up there, from lightning rod assemblies to HVAC units, in heat stacks, stuff like that, grease stacks that come out of restaurants. So if you have any kind of a restaurant on there and you have a roof vent over it, it tends to have the grease come out top of the roof as well. So that's foot traffic and equipment damage is what I'm trying to talk about. Heat stacks that can actually burn the surrounding material, anything that has chemicals on it. Chemicals, on the commercial side of things, there's certain types of roof membranes that work better in high chemical and acidic environments. And the biggest one of all of them really, and is always a concern, is ponding water. When you don't have slope, you're not shedding water. So especially down Southeast Florida, we get a lot of water really fast. It dumps down. So maintaining that drainage, positive drainage is anything that flashes off within 48 hours. So if it's still on the roof after that, in dry conditions and premium dry conditions, then it can constitute ponding water. And not all membranes are warranted under ponding water. They're not designed to withstand ponding water. Some of them are. So you have to know what your substrates are, what your options are, every situation is different. So those are all things you definitely need to take into consideration, and HOAs need to know that. That's why we're having this discussion, because you have all this going on. It's out of sight, out of mind. On slope roofs, you really don't have much to worry about. But anywhere we have slope running into a flat, like on your back porches and a lot of these residential facilities, homes and communities, they're out of sight, out of mind, and they don't realize how much is actually sitting on that roof and damaging the roof. So it's all stuff they got to maintain and keep an eye on.
Yeah, sure. That's so true, especially if people are trying to make a livable, usable space out of it too. Never know.
Yeah. And a lot of things, since I just wanted to add randomly, it's not so random though. It just came to mind. I didn't have a note on it, but knowing it's a challenge to know residents, know enough about the roofing to even know what you really need. The modified bitumen cap sheets, granulated cap sheets, the granules and manufacturer's warranty are considered a maintenance item. Okay, that's why the roof coatings come into play, because those granular surfaces typically do not live as long as the warranty. So it's the responsibility of the building owner to maintain the community when they decide to go that route. Need to understand that. They need to know that, hey, about 10 years down the line, we're going to be paying for a coating. It may be a less expensive option now, but it is a real durable option. So you put a silicone coating on a modified bitumen down here in Southeast Florida, pretty solid system versus a single ply. But you have to catch it in time. It's like anything. If you don't keep your eyes on it and you forget about it, changes of boards and changes of priorities in the community, as board changes and property managers change, a lot gets left behind.
Absolutely. Totally. Okay, so you kind of touched on this a little bit, but why is regular maintenance so crucial for flat roofs? And maybe what is that regular maintenance that needs to be done?
Yeah, a lot of the warranties don't, flat roofs always have to be tied into something pretty much. Very Very rarely is it just the roof and nothing else that's touching. It's not just going off the edges and going into a wall. I mean, this tied into other walls up there, all types of equipment, and they're all types of equipment. So different adhesives stick to different types of substrates, right? So if you have a stucco wall, or if you have a brick wall, or if you have stainless steel jack stands, or brackets of any time, or you have, rusting lead pipes, these types of things require different sealants, and not all sealants are covered under warranty either. You have to maintain that's why maintenance is required in a lot of the manufacturers' warranties. Why people buy roof systems and don't realize this, it's really amazing how many people don't know. You can't buy a car and not do the oil changes. I mean, you're going to avoid your warranty, right? I mean, you don't just drive it for 100,000 miles and never change the oil. Same thing with your roof system. And I know we beat this over the head in the industry over and over and over time, but somebody's listening to this right now that's never really even thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to have the conversation. But like I said, different types of membranes have different types of things covering their warranties. And also, if you made a modification to a space and they put in a restaurant or, a vent stack on your TPO system that's not designed to hold up to grease and chemical like a PVC or an alloy. So that can be a problem. So you have to kind of prepare for that. Even your modified bitumens can be chewed up pretty bad by grease. Silicone can help prevent that. But if the modified's already got the grease in it, silicone's going to stick to it. So all these things that's why and like I just said it too about the changing of management, changing of boards, priorities change. People's different levels of experience come into communities all the time. Wouldn't want to be on one of those boards. And it's always that a lot of these things, the buck's getting passed. So if you have a maintenance program in a company like Campany, who's been on it for the life of the roof through all those changes, we're constantly documenting for insurance purposes as well as budgeting reasons and educating the new leadership in the community all along the way. Whenever you make a purchase, especially on that grand of a level, the price of the project alone is a majority of the cost. So you really have to draw and consider the cost of proactive maintenance of the warranty as well.
Wow, interesting.
That's why it's important.
Really quick, another random question. What would you recommend? Maybe someone wants to start a restaurant and they're looking for a commercial space. What should they look for in a roof that would, withstand all the grease and all that stuff?
I'm a big fan of PVC in those situations. Most of all, it's very chemical resistant. It holds up to ponding water. However, down here in Florida, even regular PVC, the chemical makeup has liquid plasticizers in it, and the UV down here really chews them up. Now, if they're under grease and they stay under grease, or they're underwater and they stay underwater, they can be fine and stay really well. But when the rains wash that debris away and then it dries out, before more grease comes or anything like that, they tend to crack as the liquid plasticizers kind of leach out of the membrane. So you can identify those when they're going bad by the way they start to crack and eggshell. So KEE alloys, like your fiber tile I was telling you, is over there in my roof, my coffee shop bitty bag or my art club bag. It is a solid plasticizer. It's holding it together. It's a solid chemical makeup. So those don't tend to lose millage down here in Florida, just a fragment, and those can be much longer roof life because of that. So if you have a restaurant, it's got a TPO roof on it, and I got a new roof and it's got a TPO on it, it's gonna be an issue. Just like always, I'm 20 years in the industry in Florida, and I'm always willing to give anybody a free assessment. So that's the best thing, is just get somebody up there that's going to tell you like it is, candidly.
Yeah.
And like I always say, my initials, but I keep it candid and tell you, even if it's not something we do, a smaller job or a small restaurant, we might not be the most price competitive. And I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah.
And hopefully make some referrals and even still nurture the relationship and help you compare scopes and make the best decision for you. So when you're ready to move to Florida and open that pizza parlor down here, let me know.
Everyone reach out to Kyle.
So earlier we were talking about coming up with a maintenance plan, kind of that proactive maintenance, which, for some might just feel like an extra step, something else to do, something else to budget for and that type of thing. But how can, HOAs, COAs, and even just building owners, how can that proactive maintenance help them save money long term?
Well, you're catching damages beforehand. I mean, for insurance purposes, that's why roofing, especially here in Florida, the insurance is so difficult, and maintenance is a big part of that. And I did mention documenting things for insurance claims. I mean, they could say, this was like this before, and you neglected the roof, and we're like, oh no, we got photos right here. This wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And we have insurance for a reason. Keeping insurance rates down would be one of those reasons, because you can document and you can show the good condition that you're showing. I cannot speak that all providers will cut you a deal or give you some slack on your rate, on your premiums, because you do have a proactive maintenance program. But it is definitely going to prolong your roof life. It's going to minimize loss along the way as well. I mean, think about all the things that when you spring a leak on a high rise condo, say it's 20 stories high, and you got, a foot of water on that thing, and the drains got all clogged because you didn't maintain them. By the time they get the overflow scuppers, there's a foot of water on the roof. If there's a single ply roof up there and a single hole in that membrane, it's all coming in the building and running all the way down every story. So that's a lot of damage. And there's a lot of claims. It's a lot of hassle. It's a lot of money all the way around for the community. And it's a lot of personal loss that insurance just doesn't replace it.
Yep.
And they can't replace that time you lost either, when you weren't able to be in your home because of the mold and, the old drywall replacement and so on and so forth. You still have the issues with high rises with plumbing. But I mean, it doesn't, the roof is a main player in all facilities. And I'm trying to think of some more reasons. Nobody likes special assessments. Let's just put that.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to hear when they buy into I got into a HOA and my cost is this, and I'm already paying anywhere from $600 a month, expensively, to $6,000 a month, depending on where you're living. And now all of a sudden we didn't proactively manage our roofs. We were told we had 40 years on our roof. For some salesmen or even citizens says you have 50 years on roof tile down here in Florida. People are actually writing their budgets and doing their projections and planning their reserves on a 50-year span. It's insanity. There's no such thing in Florida. And
No.
And just like anywhere, I mean, up north, I've roofed up north in the snow and the ice, and you never know what's going to get hung up and what's going to start wiggling loose. And once water gets under something and then it expands, it just exponentially increases the damages to the system.
Yeah.
And what you thought was a 20-25 year roof system only is starting to fail before 15 years. And at the 15-year mark, you find yourself have to replace, and you have no money for it. So it's so important to stay on top of the current status of the roof. And once again, I can't emphasize more importantly, the changes of property management, the changes of the board, those people that are making those decisions. And if they're misinformed, they always love to point the finger to the previous manager, or the previous board, but that doesn't help them where they're at right now without knowing the current status. So that's getting to advice at the end, but
That's good though.
I always get ahead of
some good
myself.
things.
I live this stuff and breathe it, talking circles all day.
I love it. Someone has to. Okay, so how do HOA and COA, condominium associations, bylaws, along with community financing capabilities, influence decisions and strategies for roof maintenance and repairs? Basically, like in a homeowner association, how do they influence the homeowner's decisions and strategies for roof maintenance?
Podcasts on this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So
right, the joined roof systems.
Yeah.
I also did another one. I did another one down here with an attorney, restoration company, insurance agent, and we all talked about joined roof systems.
Yes.
You live in a quad? Who lives in the quad? Who lives in the
That's me.
Lauren does.
The Boston quad? Lord, I'm so sorry.
The roof's fine. The roof's solid.
For now. Until your neighbors, guys. When your neighbor has a problem, you have a problem.
I know. I know.
And that's the thing. And that was a large part of that discussion, is even if you're looking into serving on a board or moving into an HOA of any kind where you're joined roof systems, those bylaws are huge to determine whether that's something you want to take on or not. Because if you have all these roofs, you're in, say, townhomes, and they're all connected, and you're responsible for your roofing. Yeah, you might be able to, chuck in a truck that can do it really cheap. But he's the only one that'll touch it because he's voiding the warranty to the left and to the right. He's got no legitimate warranty along that tie-in. And overall, as a community, it's devaluing the community because it's starting to look splotchy and inconsistent. People don't want to walk and go into a community that's all different colors and different materials on the roofs. They want them all cohesive. Those bylaws really play an important part in managing and how you do it, because you could get stuck with you're managing a roof system and you're being told you got a 20-year warranty, but because of what your neighbors are doing, you start having problems right away, or at 10 years and at 15, when you should be getting at least 25, your roof life's getting. So yeah, that's a pretty big mess. What was the other part of that? That was the bylaws. What was the other part of that question?
Yes, along with community financing capabilities.
Yeah, financing, I like that. Are you still planning in reserves, or are you just looking for an assessment? I mean, nobody's really planning for an assessment when it comes to re-roof. They're supposed to be planning in reserves. And the problem is, like, things like COVID hit and costs of everything went up.
Yep.
And I mean, 30 to 50%. And people were like 10 years and almost 100% off on their projections. And so that really is going to affect every individual homeowner as to what the bottom line ends up being and what their options are going to be and what that's going to mean to the value of their property. Yeah, it's really important. So obviously, if you can do it, the ideal situation is recommended by any association attorney specialist would be to have the entire community on the same page. Budgeting and part of your fees, your HOA fees, are being allocated toward that reserve for your re-roofing, and constantly updated. So you need a maintenance program that's updating you on the current status. A storm comes through a large community, you got 45 buildings, and it really hit like 3 or 4 of them only, but the rest were kind of untouched. You still have to plan for that. You still have to adjust your plan for those buildings. You actually have to adjust your overall, because everything was hit differently. And people don't think about that as well. Just because it was built in a certain way, the newer buildings, or the last ones being built, could be the ones in the worst condition, depending on the exposure and what it's been through storm-wise over the years.
That's so true. Good thing to keep in mind when looking to buy those types of homes too.
Absolutely.
So in addition to budgeting kind of for that long-term, maybe re-roof that's going to happen, why is budgeting for roof maintenance planning important? And kind of what advice do you have from the roofing side for property managers or HOA boards to help create those long-term budgets to factor in the maintenance and, repairs before that re-roof?
Yeah, I think a good safe figure, almost a decade ago, I think it was like 30% of the cost of the re-roof. I'm trying to consider putting into maintenance, but that's just like, also you have like prorated warranties. Is your warranty a lifetime warranty? Is it an NDL warranty? I mean, as you start having the warranty that certain years, up to the 15th year, it's not covering as much. And there's a reason for that, because your costs are going to be rising. So planning for that 30%, like I said, it's just one of those things that can still fluctuate. But that's pretty much the rule to maintain. But you're also, on top of that, having to budget for another re-roof that 20 years later is going to be the 30% more. So yeah, it sounds expensive when you're thinking about it. It ends up being like 60% of the cost of today's re-roof is what it's going to cost you 20 years from now. But the thing is, you need to get to that 20 years. If you're not maintaining or not paying attention to it, you could have to do that twice as fast and in half the time, and not even have half the money saved. You might save some money and some minor money in maintenance, but you lost 10 years. So that's a lot. Half of a community, or half of a roofing project, is a lot less than. There's a lot more. With the price increases as well, inflation on top of it is a lot more than just that 30% blanket maintenance fee.
That's a good thing to start with, and then go up from there.
Yeah, I mean, we're currently searching a database right now, and it's, we started looking at the first 1 to 3 years. So most of those roofs are still under a manufacturer's warranty or an installer's warranty. Sometimes your install warranty can be 5 years, depending on the roof system and the company applying it. They'll go as far as 10 years. So sometimes communities will The 10 years are usually on like metal roof systems that don't really hold any type of a system warranty. But the 5 years, the 3, especially if you're under a general contractor, it's a whole community and a general contractor, that roofing contractor may be only obligated for 1 to 2 years to that general contractor, and then they're gone. So you need every community or building and HOA, condo association, or any commercial property owners need to be in tune with when their install warranty runs out, and they really want to know who their manufacturer is. You'd be surprised how many people in communities no idea who the manufacturer is and if they even have a warranty on the roof system. And they laugh and they think it's funny, but when you're doing proactive maintenance, it's one thing we didn't cover. You really need to know what systems you're dealing with and what materials you're using. There's a certain skill set that comes with proactive maintenance, and that's knowing, first of all, what really constitutes a proactive or a degenerative issue, like something's breaking down prematurely, or if it's naturally breaking down the way it should be at the time it should be. And also, there's like 10 million coating companies always trying to come in Florida. Everybody's got a coating for everything. Just if it's not proven and you guys don't know how to, they're different. Every product line's different. You guys might be used to one that's a really heavy set, goes down really nice and smooth, and just kind of self levels and makes really nice comparison. You send them out this new cheap coating or whatever. You got to deal with a buddy that opened a coating company or something, or they bring it down here to Florida. It's not proven. They can't even brush it. It just kind of runs all over the roof. It just looks nasty. And then you might have required some extra primers and then also, if it got really messy and then you continue having a leak there, if you had a warranty on it, the manufacturer's probably going to avoid it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the manufacturers have gotten into their own custom, especially the modified bitumen type systems. In the single ply, they're having their own coatings for their materials, and those are the only ones that they will back up their warranty on if you apply it before their warranty exceeds. Now, there's the flip side to that argument too. Material manufacturers aren't typically in the coating business. So some of the better coatings are for roofers, made by roofers, originated by roofers, and chemically made up by roofers for roofing. And they can be more durable. So that's the thing is, hey, now you're under the coating warranty. So is my manufacturer's warranty at this point even worth anything to be worried about when I can put it on a fresh coating warranty? But then coatings have failure substrates that aren't in their warranty. So that roof continues to degrade beneath it. And anybody doing proactive maintenance needs to know that this is going on. They need to know that, so you could have a storm and a piece of sheet metal could come off, a panel could come off an AC unit and cartwheel all the way down your roof. And they patch it all up. You get a roofer out there right away, patches all up. They might heat weld it with a different TPO, with a different chemical makeup that doesn't really adhere, doesn't really last longer. Or they can even come with a really good coating that has a really good primer in it, or urethane base, American Weather Star base, APOC's got really, they're involved with our club. And everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses. And you can have a coating that could be better than a TPO patch. And but the bottom line is that system already got saturated. The water's still in it. How much got in? Now, most single ply systems are designed over metal deck and breathing systems like ISO, hardboard in there. But that can still fester. And that foot traffic that we talked about earlier, you got people on your roof and setting down toolboxes and damaging that substrate and causing uneven surfaces that now pond water. And that TPO will start wicking that moisture in those areas where it wasn't designed to have standing water. And, so it takes that eye of saying, okay, and that's why I tell anybody, I'll put my boots on anybody's roof, but I'm not bidding anything until I do. So if you don't want to give me the opportunity to put my boots on your roof, I'm not bidding anything. I'm not your roofer, because I'm not going to just tell you that this is a situation because I flew a drone over there. I'll show you the condo community, tell you this is what you need. Even on slope roofing, there's a lot of it that comes with the skill set and walking on tiles to see what our pressure washing with bleach has done to your concrete tile over the years, and so on and so forth, and your shingles and the loss of granules, and then feel them and feel how crispy they are. That's the same thing with roof systems. You have to know every single type of roof system to really do good proactive maintenance. So if your roofing company doesn't do them all, you can't. How many communities have flat and sloped roofs? How many commercial buildings have flat and sloped roofs? and you want to maintain an entire asset, you have to have the skill set to know, actually identify these things properly and have the proper solutions and know your materials all the way across the board and what's in your market. And, a lot of it's stick to what you know, but that's something. Some people grab one can of goop and think it works for everything and just put it on everything. And it's putting concrete, old school bowl. Everybody looks at the old roofers like the bowl, and they're putting asphalt-based cement on a TPO. It's not meant to hold up to the chemicals, or they're putting it on a metal stack or on a metal roof, and it's doing more to corrode the metal beneath it than it is to protect it.
Yeah.
So all that comes in going on with that.
Yeah.
Examples.
I mean, there's so many facets to the maintenance of your roof, no matter the type of roof you have. I mean, just to go into that a little bit more, this is our last question. Might as well finish off with a bang. What advice do you have to give newly established HOAs and COAs to create their own maintenance plan for the roofs in their HOA and COA?
Find out where that warranty is, find out who your manufacturer is, and then find out what their proactive maintenance materials may be. Okay. Like I said, they may have certain materials that they'll only warranty under their warranty that they want you to maintain that roof system with. That may cost you more, may cost you less, but it's going to cost you more in the long run if you use the wrong material and then your what should have been warranted isn't warranted. So, because you avoided it with a cheaper or a product that you didn't know, or you put a shingle roofer up there to fix a TPO roof. I mean, he doesn't know then doesn't understand what asphalt can do to that membrane. So look at your warranty. Most manufacturers require biannual maintenance, especially here in Southeast Florida now. And I would look up my permit and see what wind design. And down here it's wind design. I mean, anywhere in the country anymore, you have tornadoes. So you want to know what to wind. That's the thing too. Look at these tornado zones and all the stuff that comes with these hurricanes that move across the country in places that never had hurricanes. It's the tornadoes. Yep. And you might not be in a high wind velocity area, but have somebody assessing your roof that has that background or comes from someplace like Southeast Florida is really beneficial for you. So if you could search for somebody with that type of a background, there's consultants on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can see a multitude that I'm connected with who could come out and assess that have high wind velocity experience and tell you what that negative design pressure means. And they could walk your roof system or your community and tell you what may or may not be the result of that right now with your roof system, that you may think you have a 25-year roof, but it's only 12 years old and I have 5 years left on it because it's all actually just sitting there right now. It's not even really connected the way it was designed to be because of wind damage you were unable to see. So, look at your warranty and then look at your consultation on your initial assessment. Consider the background of the person who's doing it, and their company experience, and not always just the company, but the individual mostly. I mean, big company just assessed a property for an investment portfolio owner that I service, and they had their sale all caught up. They were having problems closing the deal, and they said, we're not gonna buy this property till the owner takes care of all these issues with the roof. And I said, we don't think they really have that many problems, get second opinions. I drove all the way across the state on a Saturday and threw a ladder up, and it was the best roof they've ever put me on. They bought a lot of bad ones. Usually, that's why it's been such a good client of mine. They buy them and then they need to bring them up to par. And then they have to recoup that cost on the deal. So I assess them and I let them know honestly where they're sitting and what their options are and what's their highest rate of return with that, maintaining a quality asset. But in this situation, it was the opposite. They badmouth the roofing contractor, and I says, I gotta tell you, I said, maybe it's just the individual. I can't say it's the whole company. That company's reputable. It was just an inexperienced sales guy and I don't know. I can't speak for where the fault is, but that's an individual assessment. That's an individual person trying to sell you a bill of goods, and it's holding up your sale. Just close the deal. We'll take care of the minor stuff that needs addressed when it's done. Don't let it hold up your deal. So yeah, individuals that come of all shapes, and histories and backgrounds. So not just vet your companies, but vet the individuals that are doing your assessments.
It's a really good point.
And reserve, they have reserve planning, and they have reserve studies. And a lot of boards don't even know the property management company might be handling the reserve or the roofing portion of that, or vice versa. There might be somebody on the board at one time that had a relationship with the roofer, but that's where their assessment came from. And that's where for the last 15 years, that's what the reserves have been spent on one guy that didn't really know what he's talking about. And now here you are, and you're in a pickle. So yeah, if you're coming into a new facility or you're taking over a new leadership or management or board position, find out the history of who did what, get everything updated and refreshed. Of course, if you're in Southeast Florida, if you have a portfolio over all of Florida, we can manage that from where we're at. But specifically in Southeast Florida, and like I said, I'll drive across the state for you on a large enough job to kind of take a look at it and just tell you where to go from there.
That's amazing. Well, Kyle, this great advice.
Wealth of knowledge again. Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot more to it than people think. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So much to it. Everyone can find the directory for Campany on rooferscoffeeshop.com and AskARoofer.com to learn more and to get a hold of Kyle, and all that will be linked in the show notes as well. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for the support.
Oh, of course. It's been so much fun. We love talking about HOAs, COAs, commercial properties. So stay tuned. We have more episodes coming to you in the new year in 2025. This has been an absolute blast. Thanks for listening to the AskARoofer Podcast.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you. If your roof needs answers, subscribe now to the AskARoofer Podcast. We've got your questions covered, one episode at a time. Go to AskARoofer.com to submit your questions and learn more. Stay tuned and keep those questions coming.